Hello and welcome to another step-by-step how to tie tutorial video. This is the bead-headed, olive, hidden bend, pheasant tail nymph. This is tied on a Herter's Gaelic Supreme hidden bend rudder hook, size 12. For a tying thread, I am using 8/0 waxed olive thread. The tail, the body, and the wing case are all olive pheasant tail. Ribbing material is a medium ultra copper wire. The thorax consists of trout ice dubbing, UV light olive, and some peacock herl. The wings consist of fake eyelashes. These are ultra thick, black, long, fun and easy to work with. So let's go ahead and remove our sample. And we will secure our hook like so and let the vise be our helping hand while we place our bead on. This will go in small opening. Will end up towards the eye of the hook, with the rear having the large hole. Alright, like all good flies, this will begin with a single wrap of thread. We'll go ahead and start that behind the bead, continuing our wraps up the hidden bend, and work this towards the bend of the hook. Stopping halfway to trim that off. We'll advance our thread to our tie-in point for our tail material. We'll go ahead and isolate a small stack of pheasant tail fibers, lining up the tips. We'll go ahead and trim those off. We're going to take this about 1 hook's length for a tail. Pretty standard. Okay, once that's secured in the rear, we'll take our thread forward and we will secure our material at the hidden bend. Take a couple of wraps, trim off the excess, and we'll continue securing down the tail material. At this time, we'll advance our thread to just behind the bead, where we will secure our copper wire. And we'll do this by putting the tip into the bead. That hides that end, and it prevents it from nicking any of the thread at any point. So we'll take our ribbing material along the side, all the way to our tie-in point at the back. Okay, at this time I'm going to take some more pheasant tail fibers, lining up the tips. We're going to tie the tips in forward with the butt section towards the rear. Same as before, run the thread forward to that hidden bend where we can trim off our excess. That just helps give the body just a little bit more thickness. Okay, at this time we're going to palmer on our body material using touching wraps. I will be using my pointer finger of my left hand to do most of the work, rolling it over the shank of the hook. So with each wrap I'm pressing it down and forward, taking touching wraps, working from the rear to the front. Okay, now I can secure that down by pinching it with my right fingers, securing it with the thread in my left hand. trim off our butt ends. We'll take nice even counter wraps with our copper wire, opposite of the direction I did the body material. This will lock it in and give it a little visual. Nice even wraps. Should get about 4 with this hook. Once our ribbing is secured, we can go ahead and trim off the excess. And at this point, we'll tie in our wing casing, which we're back to the pheasant tail fibers, but instead of pulling the fibers forward, I'm just going to trim a section off here, keeping everything aligned. And I want the green stripes, the green portion, to come out. So I'm going to tie this in just behind that black portion of the feather. Make sure it rolls right on top. Once that's secured, I'll go ahead and trim off the excess of this. That way I get this nice textured wing case. Alright, at this point I will tie in my Peacock Herl. For the thorax. Once that's secured, I can take my light olive trout ice dubbing, and remembering that when we do dubbing, less is more. So I'll just take a small little pinch and make a nice tight dubbing noodle with that, knowing that I can always go back and add a little bit more. Dub on my thorax, nice and tight. Build that up a little bit. I'm going to take additional wraps with the Peacock Herl. These will be an evenly spaced open spiral. Probably get about 4, maybe 5 wraps. Alright, without trimming that off, I'm going to get my eyelashes, tie those in for the side wings. They're glued or waxed on the tips, but I want them to stick out about the same length as the thorax. And take 2 wraps. I'm going to come in with my tweezers and give that a little pull. Adjust it to right position, that right where I want it. Here we go. Excellent. So that's the near side. Trim off the waist. And we'll do the same for the far side. I have them curving outwards. Work around the Peacock Herl because we're going to end up using that as a collar. Take 2 soft wraps, adjust it into position. Once I'm satisfied, I'll give it a slight tug and trim off my waist. This time I can take my wing casing, pull that forward, and secure that down. Once the wing case is secured, I can trim off the excess of that. I'm going to take a couple more turns with Peacock Herl. Right behind that bead. Secure that down with a couple tight locking wraps. We'll trim off the excess of the peacock. And we'll finish this fly off with the old 1, 2, 3 whip finish. 1, 2, 3. We'll trim off our tying thread nice and close to the body. We'll come in with a little bit of UV clear, thin. We're going to put a little drop right on that wing casing and onto the bead. Let that soak into that peacock herl for a second. Give it a quick zap with the light. And we'll smooth it out with one more coat. Alright, there you have it, folks. That is the bead-headed, olive, hidden bend, pheasant tail nymph, tied on a size 12. Thank you for watching. Happy tying, and with this one, tight lines.